Good evening, everyone. I'm Kubrali, and you're watching Awaz News. Tonight, I'll be taking you to top news across Canada.
Church fire in Toronto that destroyed group of 7 murals, not suspicious at this time, police. Driver dead after single vehicle crash in North York. UFT says pro-Palestinian protesters rejected latest offer. Mississauga residents head to the polls for mayoral by-election. Liberals say foreign meddling inquiry should look into MP allegations. Police release details about 6 arrests at a Walk with Israel event. Man who lit woman on fire aboard Toronto bus not criminally responsible for her death, lawyers.
These were the headlines, and now let's go through the details.
Toronto police say a devastating fire at a historic St. Anne's Anglican Church is not being treated as suspicious at this time, although investigators are still trying to determine what caused the blaze. The 4-alarm fire ripped through the National Historic Site on Sunday morning, destroying a unique group of 7 murals inside. Police and fire marshals are now at the site as some church staff were seen carrying documents out of the severely damaged building. The blaze destroyed the church's domed roof and consumed paintings by 3 group of 7 members and other prominent Canadian artists installed along the interior in the 1920s. There was no one inside the church in the city's Little Portugal neighborhood at the time, and no injuries were reported. St. Anne's rector Father Don Beers says members of the church community are in shock and grieving, but determined to rise from the ashes. Democratic Institutions Minister Dominic LeBlanc says the Liberals support an effort to expand the scope of the foreign interference inquiry so it can investigate allegations against MPs. He says government MPs will support a bloc québécois motion to that effect, which is being debated in the House of Commons today. The motion says the inquiry must dig into findings by the National Security Committee that some MPs wittingly participated in foreign meddling. LeBlanc previously said the government wouldn't release their names, saying intelligence reports can contain unverified information. It's up to the RCMP to lay charges where appropriate. The Conservatives and NDP have both penned letters to LeBlanc saying the inquiry led by Quebec Judge Marie-Josée Hogue must be asked to report on the allegations. During question period today, LeBlanc said senior officials have already begun discussions with the Hogue Commission about expanding its work. The University of Toronto says pro-Palestinian protesters who set up camp on campus more than a month ago have rejected a proposal similar to what protesters at other schools have accepted. The university says the proposal sent last Thursday offered expedited processes for considering the protesters' demands around divestment of companies profiting from Israel's offensive in Gaza and greater transparency on investments. It says administrators also confirmed the school doesn't have any direct investments in such companies, including any that produce armaments. The university says the proposal was commensurate with or more comprehensive than the agreements that have resolved encampments at peer institutions. UFT has said it will not, however, cut ties with Israeli universities as protesters have demanded. Administrators say they are open to meeting with representatives of the encampment again when there are productive reasons for doing so, but will also continue to pursue an injunction that would allow police to clear the encampment. Protest organizers were set to hold a news conference Monday afternoon. Students set up the encampment on May 2nd to call on the university to cut its ties with Israel over the ongoing war in Gaza. Protesters said they were joining students at other universities in Canada and the United States in setting up camps to call on their schools to disclose ties with the Israeli government, divest from Israeli companies, and terminate partnerships with Israeli academic institutions that operated under parameters they opposed. A man charged with killing a woman by lighting her on fire on bus 2 years ago admitted to causing her death but should not be found criminally responsible due to a diagnosis of schizophrenia at the time, prosecutors and defense counsel argued at the outset of his trial in Toronto. Led into the courtrooms in handcuffs on Monday morning, Tenzin Norbu pleaded not guilty to the charge of the first-degree murder in front of Superior Court Justice Maureen Forstel presiding over the matter without a jury. Norbu was arrested and charged with the attempted murder of Neema Dolma in June 2022, shortly after he lit her on fire aboard a bus at Kipling Station in West Toronto. Toronto police are investigating in a single vehicle crash that left a driver dead Sunday afternoon. It happened at approximately 3:37 p.m. on Mount Pleasant Road near Glen Echo Road, just north of Midtown, police said in a news release issued Monday. As the driver approached the intersection, they veered off the road, striking a light post and a fence, according to police. The driver died as a result of their injuries, police said. Police have not released the identity of the deceased. Traffic Services is investigating the circumstances of the crash. Police are asking anyone with information about the incident to contact investigators at 416-808-1900. Mississauga residents are heading to polls today for a mayoral by-election that was made necessary following the resignation of Bonnie Crombie in January. There are 20 candidates registered to run in the election, and most polls suggest that at least 4 of them are in the neck-and-neck race that could go any number of ways. Polls will be open until 8 p.m. and results are expected to follow shortly after that. More than 25,000 Mississauga residents took advantage of advance voting in the lead up to the election day. City officials have said that the first of 2 weekends of advance voting saw a 42% increase in turnout compared to 2022. Mayoral candidate and current City Council Stephen Desco is spending election day making some last-minute get-out-the-vote calls from his campaign office. Former Mississauga Mayor Bonnie Crombie cast her ballot at Riverside Public School in Port Credit shortly after 11 a.m. Speaking with reporters outside the polling station, Crombie said that this by-election will provide residents with an opportunity to choose a mayor that will kick off the next 50 years of Mississauga's history, after just 4 mayors held the role during Mississauga's first 50 years, largely due to Hazel McCullen, a 36-year tenure. Mayoral candidate Carolyn Parrish cast her ballot at Huron Park Recreation Centre just before 11 a.m. Parrish, a former city council and member of parliament, had a seizable in a number of early polls, but in recent weeks her advantage appears to have shrunk, with at least one recent poll putting her just 1 point ahead of Dibika Damella among decent voters. The polls have officially opened across Mississauga as the city gets set to elect a new mayor, following the resignation of Bonnie Crombie earlier this year. The winner of the by-election will have the opportunity to serve as Mississauga's mayor until the next civic election, scheduled for October 2026.
Thank you for tuning in. I'm Kubra Ali. I'll see you back tomorrow, same time, same channel. Until then, good night.